Then I get a call from somebody. Hi, Jamie Foxx. She took me to Quincy Jones's house.
He was asked by Quincy Jones to fuck him in the ass. When Tupac said no, that's when Tupac was marked for death. Tupac was engaged to Quincy Jones's daughter. Quincy Jones's daughter was best friend was Aaliyah. Now, if y'all follow these people back, all of them either died or was brought to ruin.
Jamie Foxx's past interview has been making its rounds on social media, and the public is speculating that Jamie has finally revealed how Quincy was the first gatekeeper in Hollywood. Buckle up and let's get into the tea.
Then I get a call from somebody. Hi, Jamie Foxx. She took me to Quincy Jones's house.
So in a recent interview with Access Hollywood's Scott Evans, Foxx revealed that his career very nearly took a different turn until Oprah Winfrey stepped in to give him some advice. Foxx claimed that back in 2005, he was riding high from the critical acclaim he had garnered for his performance as Ray Charles in the musical biopic Ray, a role for which he eventually won the Academy Award for Best Actor, but he claimed his celebrating had turned into non-stop partying. Suddenly, this change of events was noticed by Winfrey, and she suddenly called him up out of the blue. It was weird that she would be interested in him when he was at such a vulnerable state, but what she did after was what really raised eyebrows. She said, "You're blowing it," Foxx recalls. "Because we were just out hanging, we weren't taking the moment seriously." She said, "I want to take you somewhere so you can understand the significance of what you're doing." Winfrey then took Foxx to the home of record producer Quincy Jones, where an impromptu intervention had been set up. And while Foxx was doing an uncanny impersonation of Jones, he remembers being told, "You've done a great job on Ray, but you fucked everything else up now. You got to buckle down, baby." He continued saying that Oprah then asked him if he was ready to meet the person she had taken him to, and it turned out to be Sidney Poitier. Sidney then said to Foxx, "I saw you one time. You were at a party. Do you remember that?" Foxx said, "I was like, yes, tears." And he says, "When I watched your performance, it made me grow artistically 2 inches. And I give something to you." Foxx was not close to Quincy at the time, so why exactly did Oprah want to take him to Quincy? Well, unless she steps up and talks, we would never know. All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about the man of the hour, Quincy Jones. If you have even a tiny bit of interest in Hollywood, you must know Quincy Jones. He is a legendary producer, musician, songwriter, and so on. Thus, he is also given the title of the Black Godfather of the industry. Quincy Jones has produced for an impressive list of notable artists during his career, including Frank Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, Rufus, and Chaka Khan, and the most famous Michael Jackson. This dude was and still is a powerhouse in Hollywood. The twist comes from his personal life, which has always been the subject of wild speculation. Brace yourselves because things are about to get spicy. Rumor has it that Quincy might have used his influence to push men into same-sex relationships, promising them fame and fortune in return. Scandalous, right? We're talking about some jaw-dropping allegations that have swirled around for ages. It has always been speculated that Quincy Jones forced men into gay relationships in exchange of making them famous and big in Hollywood. As scandalous as it sounds, the list of Quincy's hookups seems to be unlimited. But 2 of the names from Quincy Jones's flings history have always been the most discussed. These are none other than Tupac and Will Smith. Back in the day, if you are able to recall correctly, Tupac did an interview in which he exposed Quincy Jones for his sexual advances, claiming that Quincy asked him if he could stick it in his backside. Weirdly, while a lot of people have claimed to have heard that audio, it's nowhere to be found online. It's like it never happened. The interview was mysteriously wiped out from the entire internet, and honestly, only someone as influential as Quincy can be able to accomplish a feat like that. Since Tupac is not alive to confirm the audio, Quincy must have decided to clean his hands from his dirty actions. Even Napoleon seems to deny all these rumors. In an interview, when Napoleon was confronted with the alleged relationship between Tupac and Quincy, he denied everything on the spot and started defending Jones.
He set up sex rings in Hollywood. And the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Tevin Campbell, his little sweet ass up and down Hollywood Boulevard.
Professor Griff, a renowned Hollywood producer, had also that Quincy was taking in young talent and turning them into sexual workers, with Tevin and Tupac being among the young talents in question. He talked about the Tupac audio where he had claimed Quincy had sexually advanced on him, and Griff even claimed that when Tupac started talking and exposing Quincy, that when things went downhill for him. He also mentioned the fact that Quincy might have used Teven because how can anyone explain such a talented boy trying to get booty calls from the streets? It was obviously weird and out of the question for Quincy to behave that way with Tupac, since at the time Tupac was seeing his daughter and they were even allegedly engaged. But Griff hinted on the possibility that everything had been planned by Quincy and that why people close to Tupac, including Aaliyah, ended up losing their lives. However much they try to hide, fans still remember to this day each and every word of the Tupac interview. One person commented on it. I heard the audio of Tupac saying that about Quincy with my own ears about 10 years ago. Quincy is or was the key holder to the black music industry. Anyone at the top level had gotten there by partaking in his parties. Dre. Unlike those who allegedly lost their lives, other artists who were associated with Quincy ended up losing their fame and career. For years, people have wondered how someone as talented as Tevin Campbell could have fallen off the charts with a voice like his and not be able to go back as high as before. And it seems like his involvement with Quincy Jones, the same man who made him a star, was his actual downfall. If you've ever listened to the radio or been to any kind of school dance after the 90s, then you've heard about Tevin Campbell, or his voice at least. The young boy had developed a passion for singing at a young age and honed his vocals in gospel choirs in his home state of Texas and in the late 80s before a friend of his family introduced him to jazz flautist Bobby Humphrey, who then talked him up to the big wigs at Warner Brothers. Since the companies loved his voice, this casual introduction led to a meeting with industry icon Benny Medina, and Tevin's career was set making a name for himself early on by linking up with a couple of legends, with his first single being Tomorrow, A Better You and Me, from Quincy Jones's Back on the Block Ensemble LP. This must have been the first time the young artist ever met Quincy, and right out of the gate, that song became massive and eventually became a one hit on the Billboard R&B charts around the same time Campbell was just turning 14. Tevin must have met Quincy when he was only 14, and at the time he must have already had a hint of his sexuality, which Quincy could have supposedly used against him. The moment Tevin met Quincy, his career boomed. His name was being mentioned by big artists and his vocals were praised by everyone. Quincy's album Back on the Block went on to win the Grammy for Album of the Year, partially driven by the single that would, for a time, be a hallmark in the graduation auditoriums of schools, teen talent shows, and youth choirs in churches across America, and thus the talented young superstar was born. It seems like while he was rising to stardom, someone was using him for other stuff that have nothing to do with singing and music. It's alleged that he ended up in situations he didn't like just for the sake of his career. Also, the fact that he had started understanding his sexuality in the 1990s made things worse for him in the industry. It got so bad that by the time Campbell was arrested in 1999 at the age of 22 for soliciting oral sex from an undercover cop and followed it with a disastrous forced outing interview with Jamie Foster Brown in Sister to Sister magazine in 2003, Campbell's career as an A-lister had already come to a close. It hasn't been easy for Tevin anymore like it was at the beginning, and in the 20 years since, several times Campbell seemed to surface to an always eager fanship, such as his multiple runs in the international touring companies of Broadway's Hairspray over 6 years, a briefly released never-before-heard digital album in 2008 that was pulled and ethered, and a smattering of tribute shows, late-night TV guest appearances, one-off singles, and guest features on others' projects kept him episodically busy. There was also that time when Quickney appeared on a show and showered praises about Tevin only for the internet to hit back and allege that they knew what Quickney had done to young Tevin. While Tevin Campbell's name came up during the interview, he took to Twitter to clear up any misconceptions about his relationship with the music mogul. Apparently, there have been rumors circling on and off for years that Quincy molested Tevin when he was a teenager. However, the Can We Talk singer was clear that just never happened. Now I'm trending, folks will really say some disgusting things. Tevin was molested by Quincy, Tevin wrote, along with laughing emojis. GTFOH with the devil, he concluded.
How does a boy with a voice like that had the records that he had that could have easily transformed into one of the greatest male vocals of all time, end up prostituting himself for drugs?
Another person who linked Quincy and Tevin together was Jaguar Wright, who alleged that Tevin did not have money at a certain point, that he was forced to sell himself for drugs at the Hollywood Boulevard, and that he was pressured into it by Quincy Jones. Jaguar, who is way more interested in drama than her own music, felt the need to out celebrities, and so she decided to offer up some information about Tevin Campbell's past escapades, claiming that the 90s musician ended up selling himself for drugs on Hollywood Blovdeed. Not forgetting the type of person Jaguar is, and that this isn't the first time that she caught herself publicly outing business that wasn't hers and can't be confirmed. Weirdly, for all the rumors she talked about, no other artist acknowledged her, except for Campbell, as he took to Twitter to push back against her claim. He wrote on Twitter, "According to it, Jaguar Wright, I was a sex worker on Hollywood Blovdeed. It's called online defamation. Do not test Tevin. My lawyer is on deck. I would take that YouTube vid down if I were you."
I heard that Tevin Campbell wants to sue me now. That's interesting.
Jaguar herself took to Live and claimed she had seen the tweet of Tevin claiming he was going to sue her, and she didn't really care because for her, it was the truth. Now, if Quickney helped the talented artist at the beginning of the year, what happened? A fan on Twitter said, "That Quincy Jones interview was steeped in the tea that for generations, black men, gay and hetero, have sexually desired whiteness as power play, as validation of their proximity to whiteness in white men, and a means of humanizing themselves in a society that diminishes them." Another said, "So Russell Simmons is gay, Quincy Jones is gay," and Tupac admitted on TV in an interview that he got in jail. I want to cry. So what's your take on the allegations against Quincy Jones? Tell us in the comment section. Remember, this video is based on speculations and opinions, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more exciting updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.